Next slide. This is my last slide, and then I'm going to ask Darrell to talk a few things. This is, as I was kind of walking through this with my team, is an unconstrained list of future activities. Now, I'm an engineer, so does that sound like an engineer talking? It's an unconstrained list of future activities. In other words, these are all the things that we need to do in order to be able to award the design contract, and that's kind of the bottom line. And I have March of 2010 as the date that we are hoping, I don't want to say hoping, that doesn't sound very much like a leader here. It's, we are expecting of our team to meet this timeline. Vice President Biden has asked us to try to move everything to the left and get obligations, contract awards, by the end of March. And I intend to do everything I can to meet that. Now, I'm gonna do right by that, and if we're not ready, then I'll let him know, and I'll let him know why. But I'm sure going to try to meet his expectations. The list of activities that you see up there, the environmental piece is the first, 4 of those. In order to execute the geotechnical analysis, we need to have Coastal Commission approval. We need to have a 404 permit from the Corps of Engineers, and a water quality certification 401. So those first few activities are the environmental for the geotechnical evaluation. So I want to be clear, that is not the environmental for the whole project, okay? It's the environmental piece in order to do the geotechnical evaluation. Before we can go out and drill some holes in a sensitive area, we're on the coastline, we need to have completed our environmental review and do that consistent with our laws. The EIS-EIR that we're going to award in March, that's the big environmental analysis for the project itself that looks at all of the possible impacts, that evaluates all the alternatives, that ensures that we are pursuing the least environmentally damaging alternative. And that piece is subsequent to this. So I don't want to, it's somewhat confusing. There's 2 environmental pieces. Do you understand what I'm saying? The environmental piece number 1 is to do the geotechnical review, just to make sure that we're drilling holes and pulling water and doing that correctly, to answer those 3 questions that I identified. And then the second environmental review will be to look at the larger issues. And then again, our goal is to award a design contract by the end of March. Darrell, if you would, and if it's okay, I'll let Darrell kind of finish that up, and then maybe take questions.
That would be fine, Colonel. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
This is an eye chart, and I'm guessing that I'm not the only one that can't see it. This is, in the Corps of Engineers, this is how we present financial data. Everybody good with it? Okay, next slide.
Well, sir, how do I follow that? Everybody's with me?
Tough act to follow.
So this is a snapshot of the quarterly report that has been supplied last quarter. That's kind of the actual report, and I tried to cut it in half because I thought it would be a little easier to see. So the next slide's the second half of it. But this goes, it shows a good snapshot of what funding we've received, where we've used it, some kind of historic information, some plan forward information of just what are the finances on the project. So as I alluded to earlier today, the cost share for the project was signed at $13.7 million at $10,275,000 federal, $3,425,000 coming from the Cambria Community Services District. Since that time, with time going on, CCSD has extrapolated, due to inflation, some new numbers based on the current agreement with and without solar panels. So that would, the first just inflation added about $3 million, and then with solar added about $6.3 million. And then what's shown over here is should the federal authorization be increased, this would be the federal share. Until that happens, the federal government would still be limited to the $10.3 million. Anything in excess without an additional authorization would be borne by CCSD. But it's kind of a look ahead. Time has gone by. There's some pieces in here that the estimates has risen. Just smartly reporting what the project is.
You can also see the importance of the crediting language as you consider the possibility for the non-federal match of $5 million to get that $3 million credit is certainly an important component to what we want to do here.
And that $3 million credit language is added to this as well, because it's a cost that's already been borne that's now credited to the project. So it's good information, it's valuable information for the project, but it was not part of these original numbers. So should the credit then go forward to accommodate those, each one of these numbers would be raised by the $3 million. The next part of the financial report is the authorizations. Like was mentioned actually in the, slipping my mind, what was the authorization for 2001? The amendment to section, no, the amendment that changed WRDA 92 was what happened in 2001 that authorized the federal government the $10.3 million. WRDA 2007 allowed for up to $3 million of credit, and then, as mentioned, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act allowed up to $2.5 million for the project. The $3 million credit and the $2.5 million ARA funds are part of that $10.3 million authorization. It's not an additive number. Let's see if I can see this now. The next part is the project funds. Now, each year, the project has received funding at different years from 2002. Really, between 2002 and 2006, savings and slippage or recession, kind of a holdback was held from OMB, I believe. So the project, even though it shows that the project was authorized $1,025,000, the project only received $886,500. So, and to date, the project has received every penny that has been allocated to the project, and won't get any more. So the difference between the appropriated amount and the allocated amount is kind of money that didn't exist in the beginning. The next line is the ARA funds. We have $2.5 million. We've received just under $951,000. We've used part of that to finish a contract for the geotechnical work that Colonel Magnus has spoken about, and also an environmental documentation for that same said work.